Good morning, everyone. Can you all hear me? So let's do I can't really tell from here though, which room is which. Cafeteria can hear, thank you. Good in the auditorium, thank you there. I'm getting yeses. It won't do me any good to ask if you can't hear me, put it in the chat, so. Are there just 6 rooms? No, there's more. A bunch of rooms. Okay. Okay, well, I am going to assume that everyone can hear me, and we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm hoping that no one else had the same kind of challenges that Kathy and I had trying to get here this morning, but we are here and we're ready to go. I'm thinking there, if anyone was staying at the Sheridan where we were, there some of them are still there, so unfortunately, but we'll go ahead and get started. And we have a lot to go over and want to make sure that we get everyone taken care of and answer any questions. There probably won't be time for questions at the end of this session, but always remember that you can contact us in the BMITE office. You can send us an email. You can give us a call with any questions that you have. Catch us today as well. We'll be in the cafeteria at the area at the end of the day for any questions that you have and to help everyone get settled and situated. So certainly save your questions for then or catch us throughout the day, and we're happy to do that as well. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. All right. Mark is helping me behind the scenes here, so he's making sure we get started. Okay. So we're going to get started, and you know, here we are finally. We're finally live and in person, and I just thought this might be appropriate, you know, just when you thought it was safe to go back into the water, here we go again. Hopefully it's not going to go back to that same dark place that we were at over this past year. It's been a struggle for everyone, especially you guys in the classroom. I've said this over and over. I just feel for you, and I know that you guys are amazing. You're strong, you're responsible, you take care of business, and so I am so proud of you, and I'm so proud that we are in this together, and I'm so proud to be a part of this division and working with you guys, because you guys are amazing, and I appreciate you so much. Just a little logistics at this point, as far as Oklahoma Summit goes, remember you've got the QR codes in every session today. So you're going to want to use your phone and capture those codes and be sure and check in at each of those sessions. And it's going to be compiling a transcript for you of the activities that you participated in yesterday and today. You will have access to that if you want it. You'll be able to turn that into your schools if they need that. So be sure and capture that throughout the day as you go to your sessions. Remember that our registration packets, there are a few things down in the registration area with Pam, which is down near the Tat Cafe. But for the most part, everything is online. It's in CTU. It's in a folder out under our summit activities. And you can either scan the QR code down by Pam to get that, or you can just log into CTU and use this link here. And also this presentation will be available to you out in the handouts, the presenter handouts and conference information. So you don't have to be taking notes throughout this. You can have access to it after the conference and pull it up at any time. And so wanted to make that as convenient as we could. After the conference, you will be getting an email that will ask you to evaluate your summit experience. Hopefully it's been a positive experience, and you're going to get a lot out of today. Today's the best day. I just wanted to show our Teacher Academy. Christy Lofton is responsible for putting together our Teacher Academy, and it was really good this year. We decided on the theme. I say we decided, really it was Christy and Paxton put their heads together and came up with the theme for Summit, I'm sorry, for New Teacher. And I thought it was so appropriate because you guys are all survivors. And anyway, so the artwork is thanks to Paxton as well. She's so clever and creative, but we took a picture on day 2 of the BMITE Teacher Academy. I know these are tiny pictures. If you see any of these new teachers though today, throughout the day, you know, give them a special welcome and let them know that we're all here to help them as we can. And I know they rely on you to help them get through the year. So be sure and reach out to some of those new teachers, if you will. You guys are amazing about doing that. So just real quickly, talking about our CareerTech Leadership, of course, Dr. Mack is our state director. You heard from her yesterday in the opening session. Corey Gray is our deputy state director. She came in and welcomed us during the business meeting yesterday, and she is over all the full-time programs. Oops, I went through that too fast. Lori Richardson is our teacher certification specialist. So if you have any issues or need to get your teacher certification in line, she is the one that you contact. I've added her email on this slide as well. And then our staff. I think we have the most amazing staff. I'm so happy to work with this team. They are wonderful individuals, and they're very caring and they're very supportive, and they want to do whatever they can to assist you and help you in your school. So please feel free to always reach out to us through email, through phone calls. We're happy to help. We think we are your strongest advocates. We want you to succeed in the classroom. We'll do whatever we can to support that. So I'm the program administrator. Pamela Porter is one that you hear from quite a lot. She is the administrative assistant in our office, a former BMITE teacher herself, retired. And she's the friendly voice on the phone. If you need something, she's certainly the one that I would encourage you to reach out to. Move this out of the way. I'm recording that up there, I'm sorry. I didn't want to block out Pam's face. Paxton Caven, most of you know Paxton. She is our BPA and DECA state advisor, doing an amazing job with both of those organizations. You're going to hear from her later on in the day. Kathy Orr, shout out to Kathy for doing Summit. She stepped in and took over Jacqueline's former position, Jacqueline Arnold, and she is now our Region 2 program specialist, and then she also does the business management and administration cluster. And then she plans Summit. So, you know, she took on Summit about in March and has just done a great job. I appreciate her so much for stepping in and stepping up to the plate. Summit is a big ask. Mark Birch, back with us again. Yay for Mark. He is taking over Region 3, where Kathy was, and doing the marketing and finance cluster. Many of you remember Mark from a couple of years ago when he was on our team, and we're certainly happy to have him join our team back again. Christy Lofton is Region 4 program specialist, and she's our IT cluster team leader, and also she plans our new teacher academy and activities that way. So now let's talk about program information. The regions have not changed as far as where they are, the boundaries. So I just wanted to give you that map again and show you which program specialist works within that area. There are a few exceptions to some of those, some of the boundaries. For instance, in Mark and Kathy they have part of my Region 1 area that they take care of, but for the most part, this is pretty close. Program information right now, we have 283 K-12 programs. We have 152 Tech Center programs. We have a little over 132,000 students enrolled in our programs. Placement rate of 92 to 99%. That's awesome. And in BPA, we currently have 331 chapters with over 5,000 members and 36 DECA chapters with over 1,200 members. So let's talk about K-12 program funding. The funding for this coming year will stay the same as it was last year. The salary supplement will still be $2,200, and the program funds will remain as they were last year. One of the exciting things is that the agency was able to fund 12 of our BMITE programs that were on the unfunded waiting list. So yay. And 9 of our programs still remain on that waiting list, but we're very hopeful that that's going to be that they're going to be funded this year. I think there's a good possibility that that's going to happen. We never know ahead of time. It just all depends on the legislative budget and what they allot us, but we're hoping to get the rest of those funded this year. Let me talk about something just really briefly here before I move on to the next slide. Dr. Mack, every year she takes a budget, she gets it approved by our state board, and it's been approved for this next year, for the next year following, I'm sorry. It's like you work almost 2 years ahead on the budget, but she has been working with us to figure out, is there a way for us to get these funds up further than what they've ever been? So the BITE programs, you know, when they're at their peak, it's been 13.5. And right now it's setting at 12,933, and the marketing is 6,227. And so we're hoping, though, that across the board that we bring that up to 15,000. So in her budget proposal this year, she is proposing that across the board, all of our full-time programs will be funded at 15,000, and the salary supplement would be increased to 3,000. So we don't know if that's going to happen, but if you hear people talking about that and you hear buzzing that you know there's a big ask for career tech programs, that's what that's about. So she is asking for across the board increases to 15,000. We've been pushing for marketing increases for years, and they can't justify bringing up the marketing programs without bringing up all the programs. And so that's kind of the plan. And we're hoping and praying that that happens. We just have no way of knowing. But anyway, if you hear something about that, that's what's happening. And of course, we want to recognize all the instructors for the amazing jobs that you're doing, and recognize that through that salary supplement increase. So we're hoping that that happens. Now, on the flip side, for the tech centers, when you hear about what the ask is in the budget for the tech centers, it's actually much higher than the K-12 programs, but it's in different areas. There's so many different facets to the tech centers and what they offer, but there's a big new ask on both sides of the coin for our programs. And so we're really excited about that. Hopefully that comes through. As far as the K-12, we call them 412 expenditures in your classroom. It's really important. I get these questions all the time. How can we spend that money? What are some ways that can we do this or can we do that with that money? It's pretty specific, and it's been very specific actually in the past about what you can and can't use that money for. It's specifically for curriculum, technology, resources, PD, for you, not for someone else. But all of that funding is coming to your program specifically. It's not intended to be used in other classrooms. So whenever you purchase equipment, it must be in your classroom. It can't be something that's located out in the school or another classroom. And something that's really exciting is that there are in the works, we're putting together some new guidelines that help identify some new areas that we've expanded that you're going to actually be able to spend your monies on. And you're going to hear more from Paxton about that, but you're going to actually hear a lot more about that in the fall as we actually put these guidelines in place. But I wanted to give you a teaser because there's so many new areas that you're going to be able to spend this money on. So number one, you're going to be able to use it for your testing your students. You know, in the past, we've always said you can use it as a bundle. If you've got something that's bundled with curriculum, now you can actually use it for certifications. Now, what we're going to encourage you to do is be really wise in the way you spend that, and not just go out and, like, if a student doesn't pass one, give them another shot. You know, if you're purchasing, for instance, Certiport, you know, you may have to limit how many certifications you can do per student because you have so many students that you're working with. So that's an area to start thinking about that's going to be allowed. Another area is going to be in the area of CTSOs. You know, right now we've got the membership that you can spend up to $400 for that membership It's really not, it's really not considered membership. It's affiliation. That's the word I was looking for. It's considered an affiliation, and it's available for all your students. But now you can also, you're also going to be able to use it for curriculum, CTSO curriculum. And some of the other things that potentially you may be able to do is use it to purchase your BPA or your DECA jackets. Now, don't go crazy there again as well, but maybe make a plan where you're purchasing maybe 2, 4, or 5 a year, but those have to stay in your classroom. They can't go home with the students. As far as it's your classroom jackets. It's not something that they get to take home and keep. So that's something you can start planning into your budget. Don't use your entire budget for jackets, of course, but that's something that's coming down, and we'll get you more details on that. But I'm excited to pass that along to you, and then Paxton's going to talk more with you about that as well. So other areas we'll talk more about as we get those guidelines shored up, but I just wanted you to start thinking along those lines. And then the 412 reports, remember, for the K-12, those are due to Pam by September 1st. And I wanted to show you an example of a 412 report. A lot of times we get questions from teachers or from the schools. What are you talking about? What should it look like? This is an example of what we're looking for. So if you'll notice up here on these codes, this is the 412 column. So this is how we know that this is a CareerTech program. It's being coded to the 412 code. And then if you'll notice over in this column, this one is coded as 316, which is a BMITE code. Okay. And then the 312 is the marketing code. So that's how we can tell which program this is coming out of. It's giving us the details of where this is going, what the amounts were, what was encumbered, and what was actually issued, and then the final amounts as far as what's being spent. So this is available to you to show your administration or show your business manager, whoever whoever is responsible for the finances. This is what you can show them, as this is what you need as your example to send to Pam each September 1st. Now, what we are doing as well, we're sending out letters to schools where the programs aren't spending at least 80% of your funds. So they'll get a letter saying what percentage was spent, and that those funds need to be allotted and being spent in those programs. Another funding avenue is with lottery grants. Every year we offer K-12 and Technology Center lottery grants. The amounts differ. The total amounts for the K-12 grants and the total amount for the Technology Center grants is the same, basically the same amount. It's just the K-12 grants, we give out a whole lot more. The Tech Center grants are typically done from a higher level, and they're more campus-wide type grants. Some of them are more specific to programs, but obviously it's a larger amount, so there's fewer of those given out. So if you're at a tech center, you would want to work with your tech center group to figure out what they're going to be applying for that year for the lottery grants. It's intended to be technology for your classrooms, and that it's, if you haven't applied, or if you have and you haven't done it in a while, we definitely encourage you to apply. It's one of the easiest grants you'll ever apply for. So certainly it's worth a little bit of time to put this together. Just remember that when we do these grants, we have a rubric in place where we're looking at what participation level you had over the past year as far as BPA or DECA. And then, are you getting your reports in? Is everything being submitted when it's supposed to be? All those kind, and the professional development. Did you attend Summit? If you're a new teacher, did you go to the Teacher Academy? Did you finish those requirements? Are you doing other kinds of PD in your classroom, for your classroom? That kind of thing. Those are the things we'll ask you to follow up on that helps us score those rubrics. There's lottery scholarships available as well, and I wanted to make sure that you were aware of that. The lottery scholarships are for you as instructors. Specifically, this was put into place to help you with any credentials that you might need to be able to teach in that program. But it's also, if there's something specific you need to learn to be able to operate new equipment, or a new direction you want to take your program, you can also submit that for for approval. It depends on how much money is available at the time. How, we're dependent on the lottery amounts that we get from those lotteries that people invest in. But this past summer, they were able to fund $250 per credit hour to teachers. So it just depends on how many apply and how much dollars we have available as to what that amount is and how many applicants are funded. I put the information on here for you to be able to check in and find out more details about that. So certainly you can follow through with that. Another area of funding is in Carl Perkins money. This is federal monies that we get. And if you're interested to know what your K-12 or your tech center allocations are, those have already come out for 22. And so you can actually look up your school on our website and see what that allocation amount is. So that's what's allocated, and then your school turns around and submits a grant for how they want to use those funds. So if that's something, different schools are funded, they prioritize in different ways. So you just need to become aware of how your school is actually choosing to spend that money and be at the table at those discussions, and maybe make sure that they are considering things that you might need in your program as well. So I'll show you where you can look that information up on the next slide, but I just wanted to make sure you knew that. This is the year for the innovation supplemental grants, the Carl Perkins innovation grants. And so that comes around every 2 years. So this is the year when that's available to you. If you've got some innovative ideas for things that you want to spend some money on, you need some money, go out and take a look at this information and see if that's something you might want to apply for. And then of course the Carl Perkins website has all sorts of information. So I wanted to include that link as well. But this is the location, and the link was on the previous slide for you to find out if you're a K-12 school. So if I'm Ada, for example, and I want to see what my allocation for Ada is, I would go here and I would be able to look up Ada and find out what my secondary allocation is. The same for the tech centers. You can look up what your tech center allocations are as well for 22. As far as instructional framework, we haven't had a whole lot of changes this year. We always update the sequence of courses and the testing guides and the syllabi. So those are certainly out on CTU at this point and ready for you to download and use in your classrooms. Funded Tech, if you'll remember, Kathy was on this project last year, and she had a committee that worked together along with our agency to redo Fundamentals of Tech, the syllabi, the syllabus for that, and the test has also been updated. And this past year, you were able to choose whether you wanted to use the old Fund of Tech and the old Fund of Tech test, or go with the new one. This year, there won't be a choice. This year, you have to move to the new one, and you'll need to use the new test as well. There is a training video that Kathy and her team put together, and it's really good. It's one of the most popular ones right now out on our CTU channel, BMITE channel, and you can go out and take a look at that and see the teachers that were working in each of those groups actually participated in this video and talked about resources for each of those areas of Fund of Tech. So they all did a great job. So thank you, Kathy and her team. And then Mark has come on board, and he has really been working hard on the marketing and finance syllabi to come up with updates in those areas. So if you're interested in updating any of those syllabi, contact Mark and ask to be a part of those teams as he looks through updating all of that information. So let's look at testing and data collection. Something we're all excited about, right? So I just wanted to reinforce that testing is for all students now. It's not just testing your seniors and adults. This is for testing everyone. So you're now being asked to report all of your tests in CTEMS. And you can report those results at any time. You don't have to wait till the follow-up to report them, but they do have to be enrolled through SESI. So you have to have your once you get your students enrolled through SESI, then you'll be able to, at any point throughout the year, you can enter those test results. So, you don't have to wait until the following year to enter that test data. So when your students are testing in the spring, you might just want to go on out and put all that test data into this report. Now, there is a guidebook that our CTIMS group has put together. This is on the right-hand side is an illustration of part of that guidebook, but I've given you links to the guidebook. And certainly, when you log into our website, at the very top ribbon in red, you'll notice that there's a drop down for CTIMS, and that's where most all of the reporting is going to go. So, and that's where you would also find any of these guidebooks that are out there and available. So I just want you to get used to the fact that all of your students should be testing. So every course has a test, at least one test that goes along with it. And you're going to want to be reporting that data, the pass-fail data, to us. And we always recommend that you keep a spreadsheet of all of your test results and keep that from year to year so that you have that comparative data and know how your students are doing and know where you need to make some adjustments in what you're teaching because of success or lack of success. I also put a link to the approved exam list. This is the ODCTE, the entire exam list that's approved out there that shows what levels that particular test follows. So there's different levels that a test can fall within, and we'll talk just a little bit more about that on the next slide. But I just wanted to point out to you, this is just a screenshot of the Fund of Tech syllabus, and you'll notice the section. Every one of these syllabi have a section that's for required testing. So you would pick which one you want to use. So in this case, Certiport's there, TOS is there, Test Out is there. We have a State Department test there. SHL Talent Central has a test. Precision Exams by Use Science. Those are all options for this course syllabus. So you would pick which one you wanted to do, and then you would make sure that you were covering all those competencies, not only on the syllabus, but for that test itself, okay? So you can find what test goes with Fund of Tech or any of our courses on the actual syllabus, or you can go to the testing guide. Most of you probably know each of our cluster areas. We have a testing guide developed that's in alphabetical order. So you can just look up a specific course or multiple courses within that particular cluster area. So those are a couple of ways. And then this once again is a link to the ODCTE approved assessment list that you can access down here in the right-hand corner. So just talking just a little bit about certification data. I wanted to pull this up just, I'm not proud of this data, but I wanted you to see it because this is what it is. And so we are being held accountable to how many tests are being given and how successful our students are on these tests. So you'll see in 2018-19, we had a decent amount of tests. That's still not near enough, but it's gone way downhill. And of course, we all know what's happened over the past couple of years. And so it's really not that much of a surprise that living in the COVID world that we're in right now, that it's gone down as much as it has, because this would be the certifications for this year, and many of those aren't even submitted yet. And so some of them, they're waiting to do follow-up next year before they actually get entered in. So this is probably not a fair number. It's probably going to be more similar to this number, which was affected through COVID. I know that tests were down because of COVID. So this number should go up. I look for it to go up after we get the follow-up data included in this, but I just want you to know this is something that's being tracked. And so we're going to continue to ask you, are you testing all of your students and what tests are you giving them? So just make sure that you're aware that this information is being tracked now, okay? I wanted to share this information with you, and you can go back and look at it more specifically later. But for specifically the ODCTE test, these are the results for the 2021 year of what has been tested in each of these specific tests. It tells you the average score, how many students test, how many passed, and the percentage of the test passers. This is the rest of the list, the bigger list. of all those tests. So please feel free to go back in later. If these are tests that you're giving your students, you can go back in and take a look at how we are doing as a state in these areas and areas that we can work on. I just wanted to point out SHL and Use Science. These are both groups that we're working with now for testing. Those are testing options that you have. Both of these groups are presenting. They'll be one of the breakout sessions for us here. So if you've got questions or concerns here, these are the individuals that you contact, and you can certainly sit in on these sessions and learn what's happening in these areas. The videos that SHL prepared last year, these are still available to you. So I wanted to put the links out to YouTube so that you can go out and see these. If you're having some struggles with SHL and in any of these areas, you can go out. These are really short videos that should be helpful. One of the other things that we started doing was tracking community service. And this is what we gathered from you this year. I feel quite sure that we didn't get everyone's, but this is our baseline that we're going to start with. And so this is what we're reporting: total community service volunteer hours and monetary donations, and then the value of in-kind donations. So good job. Good job. This is great stuff. We know you're out there in the communities working. We just want to be able to capture that, pass that along. It helps when we start asking for money, when they see that we are active in our communities and doing good things. So hang in there and do good jobs. We appreciate you. So some additional data that we collect, we talked about the in-kind, the community service and in-kind donations. K-12 data that we collect, the 5-year evaluation documents are uploaded to CTU, and I've given you some resources there and where you can upload your documents to. That's for the programs that are going through the 5-year evaluation. We ask for salary and teaching, SESI, and follow-up reports that are submitted through CTIMS. And Pam is always really good to include that in our Monday Madness email each week, that reminders that this information is due. And then you may get a specific notification from her if yours is maybe past due or getting close to not being done. So be patient with us as we're trying to collect these. They put pressure on us, and so we have to turn around and put pressure on you. So I apologize for that, but that's just one of those things that we have to get turned in. The 412 report we've talked about, that comes in September. And then one of the things that we also do is we check those OCAS codes that your school is submitting to the State Department of Education. And they must be 8,000 level codes. So when they ask you to teach something that's not one of our courses, you can't do that unless there might be a specific exception for maybe a marketing class, that there is something in our rules where they can teach a related class. So if once they notify us and let us know what they're wanting to do and we say yes or no, then that potentially could be one that's not an 8,000 level code, but that's something that we check on your schools and make sure that they're being reported correctly. So you can help us with that as well. Make sure that they're using our courses and our course codes. The Tech Center data through CTIMS is all program area requests come through CTIMS. So when you need that, for instance, when you need a new IT program, that would go through Christy. Christy would sign off on it or work with you to make changes, and then it would move on up the pipe to being approved. And then the SESI and the follow-up report. And I'm saying SESI, and that is the enrollment report, for those of you who may not know what SESI is. As far as resources, I think I showed this to you last year, but I wanted to point it out again. This is actually linked, so you can go out and look at this on our website. There's all sorts of really good information that you can use as you're building your program and figuring out what schools feed into your tech center, or as a tech center, or as a high school, are you a part of a sending school district, and what other schools are in that district. You can also go out and find what is being taught at a tech center or what's being taught at a specific high school. So all of this information is live and it's interactive, and you just have to go and explore and see what all is out there. It's really good information, and you may be able to use it as you're doing program planning and figuring out what direction you want to go and who your partners are and how you make your how you make your programs of study work with your schools. Work-based learning is an area that's getting a lot more attention these days. Every program does some level of work-based learning. That's the beauty of CareerTech. We all do some sort of work-based experiences, whether that's projects or whether that's actual internships and apprenticeships. We all do work-based learning. Now, what level is going to vary from school to school, but I wanted you to know that this is a website that's now available to you. It's got a lot of resources out there, a lot of information. You can access this and just do some exploring and see what's out there. There are some apprenticeships in the works that we're hoping to roll out at some point. Mark's been working hard on some, and then Christy as well. So we'll talk more about those as they become more relevant, but hopefully that's an area that may be have a positive impact on your program and your students. And then of course we have tons of resources out on CTU, and I've placed the link here to that as well. Something that Kathy's been working on over the past year is putting together a package for internships. And she's put that package out on CTU so that you can download it. There are a few copies at Pam's table, at the information table. So, you know, until they run out, you can certainly grab one there, but you can actually download it from CTU and get those copies. And that's in the curriculum area, where you can find that folder for internship packages. So there are 3 different courses that qualify for an ICAP experience, so you can work with your schools on the marketing internship class, the business and information technology internship, and then the capstone course. Those are all 3 courses that can qualify for ICAP. So you can work with your counselors and talk to them about how your program can benefit an ICAP, individual ICAP experience for students. Mark's giving me the time, so is it 8? Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up. Let's make sure that I just wanted to show you where the internship package is. We've talked about resources on CTU. This gives you some actual specific locations where you can find those resources. Find our BMITE YouTube channel for all of those resources. PD, we've got the Master Educator program out there now that's free PD in almost any area you can think of. Certainly you'll want to explore that and use that. We've got the Teacher Academy dates set for the 16th of September and January the 28th. So our new teachers all come to that, but it's also great professional development for teachers who just need some new ideas. And then other sites here, the OEIP, we send that out at the bottom here. We send this information out as it's available, but a lot of times this is a really good opportunity for you to bring live industry experiences into your classroom, especially when they're doing virtual. So keep an eye out for those OEIP sessions. And then our BMITE Teacher Advisory Committee, we want you to be a part of that. Anyone who wants to participate, it's your opportunity to have a voice in our division and the direction that we take each of our cluster areas. So put that on your calendars and plan to join us on October the 19th. The MBA Research Conclave is going on. Actually, it started today and it will last the next couple of days. It's free. So if you didn't get signed up for that, you still can, and you can participate in those sessions. They're really good. We have 2 representatives that serve from Oklahoma. Debbie Coffey is these are new for this year. Debbie Coffey and Melody Johnston. Thank you, ladies, for stepping up to do that. Of course, our Monday Madness communication every Monday. Don't throw it away. Put it in a folder so you've got that information to look back on. We put most everything as far as our communications come through Monday Madness. And I went through that. I'm sorry, I went through it. It took me longer than I intended. I went through it really fast. So you can go back and watch. We'll have it recorded. We'll put it out on BMITE, the BMITE YouTube channel. And we'll also have it on the Summit platform as well for you to look back on. I know you're going to want to just watch it over and over because it's just so awesome, right? So anyway, everyone have a great year. I hope I get to see you today if I didn't get to see you yesterday. And we can talk and visit, say hi, and hope you have a wonderful conference.